And welcome back, Gamer Nation. SKS here with another episode of 80 Days, part of the 2017 Summer Game Blitz. We are trying to make our way over to Yokohama, but we are going to have to wait till tomorrow, so let's get a hotel room. This is part of the 2017 Summer Game Blitz, brought to you by Scarlet Ranger. This is 80 Days. We took a room and settled in, and I afforded my master every service. I helped the kitchen staff to clean. I spent a while talking to the hotelier. Let's clean. Oh, I earned 41 pounds. Your funds have gone up a little. Nice. All right, let's go to Yokohama. Embark. Oh, so we're actually going to improve on this Korean ship. Interesting. We took passage on a Korean vessel crewed by a mix of Koreans, Mongolians, and Siberians who regarded Monsieur Fogg with grave curiosity. Why does he wear a hat? One of them marveled. That is the hat of a gentleman. Why, to keep the rain off his head. That is the hat of a gentleman, I informed them curtly. An English gentleman who is most refined of the breed. They continued to goggle at my master in mild disbelief until he retreated below deck with the slightest of furrows etching his brows. Relations with Fogg have strengthened slightly. Let's converse with people. Greetings, mademoiselle. Good day, Frenchman. I need to know about Yokohama. I hear there's a traveling circus in Yokohama. Ooh, Yokohama to Honolulu. Is it possible to travel from Yokohama to Honolulu? Probably, but you could pick up harmonicas in Honolulu. Extremely valuable in New Orleans. Yokohama to San Pedro. Ah. So I think if we can get across the Pacific Ocean, we might be okay, because that's the biggest thing I'm worried about. For the first day aboard, we kept ourselves mostly to ourselves. The crew seemed busy with their task, and I did not like the looks of those. I was happy to have fewer of those myself. Monsieur Fogg was his usual impervious self, however, and made his calculations and read his newspaper. Meanwhile, the boat steamed onward. One of the cabin girls, Elena, spoke good English and was attached to us as a translator, though she created as much conversation as she exploited. Do you know my parent? I doubt it, since I've only just met you. Elena nodded. My father was a Russian officer, maybe, I think, and Mama comes from a famous Cossack family. They're all soldiers. Your maman is a soldier? I blinked. She dressed as a boy and joined the Cossack host. Elena wrinkled her nose. My auntie and grandma were soldiers too. Mama says, but I have to earn enough money for my own horse and armor before I can join. I blinked down at the little cabin girl, rather at a loss as how I should respond. That's nice, I hazardly, and she nodded enthusiastically. Mama runs the boiler room, and the sailors are frightened of her. She told me rather wistfully, one day I will be like her. Elena made a mock fierce face, and I pretended to quake in terror until we both began laughing uproariously. Remember the officer's advice in Vladivostok. I produce our papers. I would like to meet her. Oh, wait, let's use the paper. In that case, I said seriously, perhaps we can arrange something to speed our ship along. Elena took one look at the documents and nodded equally seriously. I will discuss it with her, she promised. His health went up. What's the newspaper say? Rumblings intensify of Russo-Japanese war. Elena knocked on the door unreasonably early in the morning, eyes bright. Mama said to tell you. Elena told me, pride evident in every word. We will be arriving early. Today, in fact. Your maman is a marvel, I exclaimed, and she gave me a grin before slipping away, her arm raised in just the slightest of military-style salute. Monsieur Fogg lowered his newspaper and a friction and cleared his throat in what I took to be an approving manner, but made no further comment. Relations with Fogg have strengthened slightly. I wonder what our stuff is with him now. We've hit 11 cities. Wow, we've traveled 12,000 miles. Oh, wow. Zestful is our character. We're passionate still. Our valet is remarkable, and he's comfortable with this. Interesting. And we're in Yokohama. The hand mirror could earn us well here. I agree. Alright, it's super late at night, so we need to hit the hotel. With the last light of the evening, I starched colors of our shirt. I engaged another guest in conversation. Learning that you could buy revolvers in San Francisco, extremely valuable in New Orleans. So everything sells in New Orleans, so something tells me we need to go there. Let's explore and see what our options are. So Manila, so Yokohama to Manila. Yokohama to... Oh my god. It was hard to believe that Yokohama had only relatively recently opened to foreigners. There was an entire foreigners district not far from the waterfront, where it was common to hear Chinese or Russian as Japanese. There were several varieties of English to choose from as well, though Monsieur Fogg would have barely deigned to include the nasal tongue of the American merchant. I noticed a Japanese man watching the scene with a look of intense concentration and scribbling in his sketchbook. I leaned in for a look. He was drawing a stylized picture of foreign quarters with quick pen stroke, which stopped abruptly as my shadow fell over the drawing. He looked up, clearly irritated. "Do you mind?" he said. His accent an unholy mix of Dutch, French, and English. "I'm making a drawing for a woodcut." He was clearly a temperamental sort. The skirts aren't that voluminous, I committed, and he sniffed in affront. "Though," I amended hastily, "you have drawn them well." "It is an artistic impression of the foreigners," he stressed. "You dislike foreigners, then?" I predicted. "You are very strange people," he renounced after a brief silence. "Everyone is strange," I replied thoughtfully, thinking of my travels. He shrugged, clearly unconvinced. He colored one more of the women's skirts lovingly, his hand on the page much gentler and kinder than his voice had been. Finally, he thrust the paper in my direction, assuring me that it was only a preliminary script. I accepted gracefully, charmed that he had chosen to bestow a gift upon a near stranger. I stored it carefully, as it was a fine souvenir of Yokohama. Go to the market. And this hand mirror sells for a little bit. We don't really have anything else to sell. Burlington, Athalia, it's only 10, so I'm gonna buy it. Where do we want to go? I think we should cross over to America. 15 days. Let's do this. Leave tomorrow. $4,000. Holy crap. Been to the bank. What do you do at the bank? I have additional funds? I'm a gentleman. They would extend me credit for priority, he replied. But do you suppose I should put my entire fortune into a carpet bag under your supervision? I did not answer. I regarded the manager of the bank we entered, a well-dressed, calm gentleman who greeted us with suspicious disinterest. You wish to withdraw funds, we were told. I warn you, it may take some time. We cannot afford even a single day, I declared. We swept out of the bank. Thankfully, our situation is not desperate. My master declared, onward. I bet we could have went to Manila and then went over, but I think 15 days, 14 days. I still think that's going to catch us up where we've been wasting time. Alright, we'll rest till the next day. I mean, we're halfway through the adventure. As night fell, I did some minor alterations to our clothing. Yeah, let's do this. Relations had deteriorated. What? Why would he get mad at that? I don't understand. Okay, we'll get extra space. We are on a boat going to America. The Water Lily is a sleek, iron-hulled ship to submarine prototype, captained by a severe American by the name of Wicker, who wore a top hat at all times and preferred tea to coffee, which greatly endeared him to Monsieur Fogg. In addition to the usual complement, the Water Lily carried an entire corps of brass-goggled engineers and brace of submariners on standby should the captain call the order to submerge. The rumor was that she had been a slave ship, was a Confederate vessel. Was a Confederate vessel sold off to a private concern in the later, more desperate stages of the Civil War. But I saw no trace of Dark Post aboard. The crew seemed a happy family and welcomed us to the iron-hulled bosom. The newspaper. San Francisco beleaguered by telegraph lines. Wow, this is crazy that we're going across the Pacific Ocean like this. Our cabin, while hardly spacious, was adequate to our needs. One of the midshipmen came by to show us how to use the pressure seals in case of submersion. But in all other aspects, I looked forward to a peaceful steamship ocean crossing. I was not to be so lucky. Oh, great. Oh God, San Francisco tackling cattle influenza? So is that like the mad cow flu? Oh. The salty air blew cool and sharp against my face as I opened the door onto the top deck. It was painfully early, and the only passengers awake were a group of Chinese laborers hunched miserably near the stern. One of their number was vomiting copiously into a bucket. I offered him my own secret remedy, which I had brewed up just for such an occasion. He swallowed it down with a certain dubious desperation, but immediately improved in both complexion and temperament. He thanked me most profusely. I asked him about the captain, but with no language in common, communication was impossible, so we settled into playing dice in a quiet silence until the sun rose. Well, I helped the guy. Let's convert. Greetings, Captain. Passepartout, what do you want? Let's talk about San Francisco. San Francisco is still a young city compared to those in Europe. How about San Francisco to Las Vegas? I've never heard of it. What? Is there a route from San Francisco to Salt Lake City? Yes, I knew a man who once took the Transcontinental Express from San Francisco. Oh, I forgot about that too. I wonder if you can go from Burlington down to New Orleans. I accompanied Monsieur Fogg to a game of whist with a family of American missionaries who were traveling back to San Francisco for a family wedding. My master began strongly, but Mademoiselle Loretta, the eldest girl, had a sharp eye and won several hands in a row. A new round was dealt. I noticed Mademoiselle Loretta slip a card into her sleeve. I blinked twice in pure astonishment and glanced up at her face, which was utterly calm, betraying nothing of the action of her nimble fingers. The minister's daughter was a cheat, and a skilled one at that. I filed away the knowledge for an opportune moment, catching her eye to convey that I had noticed her little sleight of hand. She blushed with all the manufactured prettiness of an accomplished actress, then raised one eyebrow in silent challenge. Our journey continued on. I spent the day in the company of the Water Lily submariners. They were all hardy men and women who preferred to the dim, enclosed spaces of the hold to the top deck. Too much sky, one of them said, squinting suspiciously. Her crewmate nodded. All that fresh air? They shuddered collectively and suggested a bracing race to the boiler room. I tried to keep up, I impressed them with my physical prowess, coming in a respectable fourth just behind their commander. He was half Japanese, half American sailor by the name of Davis. Izumi to my friends, she said, clapping me heavily on the shoulder. Now a rematch of your choice. Shook my head. Very well, I declared, and promptly suggested a drinking contest, test of acrobatic skill. Though the submariners were all fit as horses, they had never attempted, for instance, to form a pyramid or walk the length of the corridor on their hands. I hustled them most dishonorably. They competed with me gamely, but admitted themselves outclassed. Commander Davis even applauded. Izumi nodded as I take my leave. You're not so bad. Let's talk to people again. Greetings, Commander Davis. Monsieur Passepartout. Yes. Let's talk about San Francisco to Cheyenne, San Francisco to Omaha. Uh, Omaha to Chicago. Ooh, Omaha to Dallas. They're not helping me. They don't. Well, they're on the water all the time. They probably don't have. I was climbing the rigging, extremely in it as exercise, of course, and not all for the purpose of spying on the crew to appease my own rapacious curiosity. When I heard two of the crewmen arguing in a pidgin mix of English and Japanese, I peered upward, eager to match faces with the expressions to the voices I could make out. They were both Japanese, but one of them was dressed in Western style and the other in Japanese Hampton and Hakama. As I watched, the trouser-wearing sailor grabbed violently at his compatriot, but missed his footing and tumbled over the platform's edge. I was unable to look away as he fell. His body lay still and crumpled on the deck, but I heard his scream in my head for days after. I looked up and managed to catch sight of the fallen sailor's companion, his face still and pallid. What was that guilt in his eyes, or merely shock? He slipped away before the captain arrived, and I followed him. He retired to the crew quarters, and I began to hear the sound of desperate muttered prayers. Jeez. Police hunt card sharp known as the Reverend's daughter, last seen Yokohama. What? So that was her. Oh, man. The Water Lily's crew held a funeral for dead sailor, but was not specifically invited. I was not specifically invited, but was curious about the incident. The funeral was an excellent opportunity to learn more about the crew. Captain Wicker led the Christian service with customary grimness. I was surprised by the absence of the sailor's companion, who had been arguing with him just before his fall. Yet he was not the only one missing from the funeral. Oddly, only half the crew had come to pay their respect. I suppose that death at sea was commonplace, and the crew had too much work to do. Your character is now dependable. I don't understand what the changes do from being dependable or suave or all that stuff. Fogg Valet, the brains, full report. I don't see why that would be in the paper. Storm, too exhausted to write a proper entry. Suffice to say we are still afloat. As we settled down for the night, I was struck by an unrelated thought. Monsieur Fogg, the dateline. I have altered our watch already. Monsieur Fogg replied calmly. Did you think I might forget? My master was, of course, correct. With an eye such as his, it was unthinkable that he might miss such a detail. We had reached the point directly opposite Greenwich, where the hours we had lost in traveling around the earth were added back. A whole extra day. Oh, that's cool. Fogg spotted on the fine form. What? Are there people here interviewing us? Yesterday's storm hit us with little warning. One moment I was preparing Monsieur Fogg's shaving water, mending one of my shirts, adding a ribbon trim to one of my shirt sleeves, and the next we were being tossed from one end of the cabin to the other. We were lucky that the bed was securely nailed to the floor. The ship shuddered and moaned. Rain clattered against our iron hull, nearly drowning out the shouts of the crew. The storm lasted nearly 6 hours and blew us far off course. Oh no. The captain spent most of the day peering at his charts, trying to locate our position. There's no land anywhere upon the horizon. Your character is now zestful. Where the hell are we? Oh, we're going to Honolulu. Oh, this is actually going to work out. The captain announced the change of destination. The Water Lily would now make for nearby Hawaii rather than San Francisco. We would make port in Honolulu for 5 days. We would have to find our own further conveyance from there. Monsieur Fogg's lips pressed ever so slightly together. A rare outward sign of entirely understandable annoyance. This, my master said, will not do. Indeed not, sir. I agreed. Not even daring to calculate the delay and expense our unexpected diversion would cause. Monsieur Fogg gave me a cool, appraising glance. Captain Wicker has reneged upon his word as a gentleman, he said curtly, before lowering his voice to an utmost furtive undertone. Our course is clear. We must mutiny. I open my mouth to... Oh my god, he wants to argue the point, but he continued without so much as a pause. See to it, Passepartout. Use your natural charm. I interjected brightly. Quite, he said, with the agreeableness of a gentleman who has just given his valet a near Herculean task. We'll mutiny in 5 days when we reach Honolulu. Make your preparations as you see fit. What? 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 Oh my god. Greetings, mademoiselle. Passepartout. Why, hello. What can you tell me of Honolulu? Let me tell you, Honolulu is connected to San Francisco by boat, but the fare is well beyond most travelers. Can you travel from Honolulu to San Pedro? Probably, but you can obtain revolvers in San Pedro. Extremely valuable in New Orleans. What do you know about San Pedro? Did you know you can obtain cotton flowers and sell for profit? Cotton flowers? What? Oh my god, he wants to mutiny on the cat. I don't even know what to do on this one. My task was clear. I was to foment mutiny upon the water lily. I decided to begin by exploiting the crew's animosity toward one another. Divide and conquer. Or so dear Maman always counseled. I considered inflaming the religious passions. Gossip and rumor would be a good way to start. I thought, those subtleties might also be lost on a crew of sailors, so I decided to desecrate the Shinto shrine, steal the captain's wall-mounted crucifix, spread rumors about the Shinto crew members. Planning a revolt. A few more nervous officers started carrying an extra brace of pistols, but nobody of rank gave the notion much credence. Well, this is not turning out well. Greetings, Reverend. Good day to you. What do you know about Honolulu? They say that King Kamehameha III is a devout Christian. You mentioned steamships. I've been told my friend has a wonderful time aboard the cargo steamer from Santiago to Lima. San Francisco to Burlington? Calgary is connected by Regina. What about Burlington to Washington? Let's just say the most efficient way to Washington from here is through Acapulco. What? That doesn't make sense at all. Atlanta was burned down in a fire toward the end of the war. It has not yet recovered. But tell me, would you believe it? I introduced my daughter to cards to occupy her. Indeed. Indeed, monsieur. I think it may have worked. She is rather too occupied by them now, I fear. Yeah? You can get to Atlanta from Washington aboard the Piedmont Airline. What about Washington and New York? This guy's given tons of information. I doubt it. Quickest way to Toronto is from San Francisco. So he gave us a lot of information. That's cool that they incorporated the war burning down Atlanta and stuff. They incorporated all that stuff in. It was a satisfaction that I noted a certain increase in tension aboard the Water Lily, a situation I would scarcely have to exturbate, and my master's mutiny was to have any chance of success. Next, I attempted to integrate myself with Commander Davis and the submariner, who were rather storm-tossed and disgruntled. There's no storms underwater, the commander muttered, her hair a tangle underneath her cap. We should have submerged. I offered her a hairbrush, hoping to appeal to her vanity. Alas, it appeared that the commander was far more proud of her musculature than her coiffure. She rejected my offer out of hand and dismissed me soon after that. She could run drills with her crew. Yeah, I'm not doing very good at putting this mutiny together. And I think there we'll end this episode, and we'll see how the mutiny goes next time. Thanks for watching. Hope you all appreciated this. This is 2017 Summer Game Blitz, 80 days, brought to you by Scarlet Ranger. Good night, everybody.